Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us in our latest installment of TAASA Talks, the 87th. This is our platform to keep everyone updated on the status of sexual assault survivor centered legislation happening in Texas and also to demystify that lawmaking process. Oh my God, y'all, it's beginning to look a lot like Texas Ledge. Yesterday, it was super busy. Bills are now getting hearings. You have the public showing up for hearings, either in support or against. In addition, sometimes they do ask for resource witnesses to answer questions on specialized topics that can help support their decisions made in those committees. So that's kind of where TASA has come in, and a lot of you have come in. So we thank you for that. It's just very important. It's an integral part of that decision making system. And I want to share with you some really great news before I hand it over to Kristen and Catherine. So the last few TASA talks, we've outlined the steps of the budget making process. We highlighted the high moments in both chambers, beginning with Senate Finance and then the House Appropriations side. Senator Nelson, Chairwoman Nelson, and Representative Mary Gonzalez both asked pointed questions when it came to their chambers about the funding sources to rape crisis centers, also known as a SAPCS state line item. We all know what that line item. Those are our grants. And really quick, the SAPCS funding, it's tied to sexual assault programs, also known as rape crisis centers, as defined by Texas law and all the standards and rules therein. So just wanted to make sure that connection is made and very clear. Another reminder, we asked for a $4.7 million increase to the SAPCS budget. We kept that ask very modest because COVID happened. We know that the spending was down in Texas. We also based that strategy on the early projections from the Texas Comptroller. So we were playing basically offense and defense. We wanted for sure level funding, but we also know that the need and demand for resources is so great, especially with COVID and the winter storm and all that. So we did want to ask for something. We didn't want to go too high with that ask because we were being a little conservative with our ask. So, when both the Senate and the House base budget came out with level funding for all of our items, we were just very excited, kind of hesitantly excited, but that was kind of victory number one. If there's a victory or a celebration number one, I should say, because right before that, the OAG's LAR included cuts to OVAC, to TASA line item. And so we were just really trying to make sure that we could get base level. Well, we got that. Next step, we wanted to ask for a $4.7 million increase, again, to SAPCS. So last week, y'all, oh my God, last week, we found out, or was it this week? Oh my God, anyway, it just happened. We found out that the Senate Finance Committee has adopted or approved the $4.7 million increase to SAPCS. Hallelujah, amen, Jesus, sweet baby Jesus, thank you. This is great. And I wanted to ask you all a favor. So please, if you can send Chairwoman Senator Jay Nelson a thank you, send her a social media shout out. It is her leadership. She did not do this alone. We understand that, but it was her leadership that got this to their finish line, right? There's also a list of finance committee members that we can give you that thank them too, because all of them are in support not only of survivors in Texas, but of you all doing that work to work with and assist in the healing process of survivors of sexual assault in Texas. So they all deserve our thanks. But it's not over. So we have to hurry up and wait on the House Appropriations to adopt the $4.7 million increase that we've asked them for also. But we have the utmost confidence in Chairwoman Gonzalez, as well as the committee members Schaefer, Sherman, and Holland. They served on that committee for Article 1, the OAG budget, to support sexual assault survivors. So next, both budgets, they have to match and then go through the voting process before it's ultimately finished. So are we there yet, as the kids ask in the car when you're traveling? No, we're not there. We're getting close to our destination, but we're not there. It's just great news to know that the Senate Finance Committee has approved the $4.7 million increase. We're not there yet, but we are getting closer. So that is great news. Celebrate. Drink coffee, tea, whatever your drink of choice. I'm not going to tell anybody what to drink. I'm not going to say what I'm going to drink either, but we are celebrating that. So the next thing before I hand it over to Kristen and Catherine is Capitol Days. We are very excited. Next week, we are teaming up with our sister coalition, Texas Council on Family Violence, as we join together to kind of just raise the issue of violence against women, sexual assault, domestic violence here in our great state of Texas. We join together to kind of talk to elected officials about what's happening on the ground. We're very thankful to them and also want them to remember all of the work, the great work that's happening on the ground. That's going to be Monday, the 29th through April the 1st. So again, thanks. And now I will hand it over to Kristen and Catherine so they can discuss how our bills are advancing through the course of the ledge.
Awesome. Thanks, Rose. We also wanted to send a quick shout out to Senator Huffman, who is chairing the work group that oversees the Attorney General's budget. So the $4.7 million increase is also due to her leadership. So if you live in her district, you could send her a quick thank you note. It's an amazing victory in a time in which funding is not readily available across the state. But moving on to our non-funding priorities, we had 2 of our priorities heard last week, which is hugely exciting. And I'm going to let Kristen talk about one of them, but our trauma-informed investigations bill had a really strong hearing last Thursday in the Department of Homeland Security. Just Homeland Security Committee. It was voted out late last night. Thank you all so much, those of you who wrote in written comments or testified on behalf of the bill. It had a really meaningful impact during that committee hearing.
Yes, and our sexual assault privilege bill, HB 1374, was heard last week in the House Judiciary Committee. It had a very good reception, and there were a lot of wonderful written comments sent in by advocates across the state, just saying how important it is for survivors to be able to have full confidentiality when they visit a rape crisis center. So we are hopeful and optimistic that that will move out of committee this coming week. And we really appreciate y'all for your support on that item. It's gotten really good reception across the board. And then another bill that we wanted to touch on that is going to be heard this coming week is SB 476. And that is one of our priorities around the formation of sexual assault response teams in Texas. We have, as a rule and by state mandate, child abuse teams that are required to meet relevant stakeholders from each county to get together and communicate and ensure that the county actually has a plan when there's an outcry of child abuse. But we don't have a similar model in Texas right now that says stakeholders have to do so when an adult makes an outcry of rape. And so it's 2021, and we feel really strongly that our Texas communities should have a plan. We hear over and over again that when survivors come forward, they call 911, they are missing out on a lot of the crime victims' rights that the Texas legislature has said that they should have. And we don't believe that when a survivor calls 911 or makes an outcry of rape that they should have to have memorized the Code of Criminal Procedure in order to ensure all their rights and all the services available to them are being offered. And so we believe that community stakeholders like rape crisis centers, forensic examiners, and law enforcement should be communicating and should have a plan to respond when someone makes that outcry. So that's what this bill does, and we're really excited about it. It's a huge, huge bill for the state, and we're really grateful to Senator Nelson for bringing it forward as a priority. And so if you are interested in supporting this bill as an advocate, as a survivor, you can call the Criminal Justice Committee. We have 2 senators that sit on that committee from the Harris County area, Senator Whitmire and Senator Huffman, and let them know that you're in support of SB 476. So thank you.
Yeah, we're really excited about that hearing. It also coincides with Capitol Days, so next week's going to be a little chaotic for us. So yes, our rescheduled Capitol Days are finally next week. We are kicking off on Monday with an introduction from some of our survivor leaders and our fearless leaders, Gloria and Rose. and then doing an overview of our legislative agendas, TCFE's legislative agendas, and what to expect in meetings with your lawmakers if that's something you haven't already done. If you want help prepping for those meetings with lawmakers, you want to run through your talking points beforehand, feel free to email us at policy@taasa.org to set up a quick appointment with us. We are always happy to help. That's what we're here for. And then on Tuesday afternoon, the amazing Loretta Ross is going to speak. So be sure to tune in for that. And then feel free to make your visits over the next couple of days, and we'll close with a happy hour and a bingo game on Thursday afternoon. So we hope to see y'all next week.
Wonderful. Well, thank y'all so much for the updates. It's exciting to see how everything is going through the system and to learn about the system. As I'm hoping that was our goal here, is to here's the updates and here's what happened, so that we are also in turn sharing information and education about how the system, works here in Texas. So just wanted to really congratulate our policy team, especially Kristen and Catherine, because these things are making it through that process, and they don't do that by themselves. We wish they would, but they don't. You all are making that happen. Rape crisis centers, sexual assault programs, leaders on the ground, advocates on the ground, you're making it happen. And ultimately the elected officials who are just in support of our work and in support of survivors are making it happen. So it is a collective team effort. So thank you all to everybody who is making that process happen and getting us what we need. So the other thing I just want to say really quickly, I am in South Texas, and I'm very thankful to the South Padre Island Convention and Visitors Bureau, because I didn't have internet and they let me use a little closet, which is a beautiful closet with that. Anyway, I'm not gonna it's really pretty, and I thank you for the internet and for allowing me the space to be able to do this. And lastly, I forgot to thank my personal senator, Charles Schwartner, who was on the committee with Huffman in the Senate Finance, and also was a part of that process. So he's where I live, he's my senator. So I wanted just to give a quick little shout out to him as well. So that is it. Thank you all for joining us today. If you have any questions about anything that we said, I know I probably talked really fast because I'm excited, but please, policy@taasa.org, get a hold of us and we will keep you posted. Let's keep it moving forward. We're almost done. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. Thanks.
Thanks, y'all.